Welcome to the Mom Boss Like a Boss podcast where we talk about mom life, entrepreneurship, and everything in between. I'm your host, Taylor B., a mom of 4 precious boys and an entrepreneur at heart. If you've been looking for a village of like-minded people, then I think you've found the right place. I look forward to talking with you, and I can't wait to see you inside. Hey y'all, we need to talk. So there's this word that has honestly been just circulating around for years, for a long time. It's not like it's a new word or anything like that. It's the R word. Yep, that word. Rebranding. So we're going to talk about rebranding today. What it is, what it's not, and the misconceptions that a lot of people probably have about it. When you first hear the word rebrand, you're probably thinking this huge overhaul of an entire business. New logo, new colors, sometimes a whole new name. But rebranding isn't always this huge change that you can compare side by side. Sometimes it's quieter and more internalized, like you get clearer on your target audience and what you're trying to say to them versus changing your logo and your visuals. I'll explain exactly what I'm talking about in a moment here. Hello. Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Taylor B., the brand, web, and package designer behind TB Design Loft, which is my design studio that helps mompreneurs build sustainable brands that flow with their life instead of control their life. I remember I was talking with a potential client. I suggested a rebrand. She already had an existing business. She had been in business for a while. People knew about her business. They were familiar with it, all that. She had built a brand. And it looked like she only had one version of her logo at that time. And I remember suggesting a rebrand. At the time, I recall her saying how much work and effort and energy it was going to take to do a rebrand, even though she already had something that was working. At the time, I was not able to articulate how a rebrand would benefit her, but I remember her telling me that she was reassured when I let her know that a rebrand doesn't always necessarily mean that it's this huge overhaul of the business. It doesn't always mean we're going to burn this all down and rebuild something completely new. That is not always what a rebrand is. Think of rebrand as a refresh. So if you just completely take off the brand part, just say it's a refresh. And when you look up the actual definition, it's to change or update the brand or branding of a product, service, etc. So think about this. If you remember the Walmart rebrand, everyone had jokes because they refreshed some colors, did a few other changes that weren't very obvious. And I think that's because the misconception of rebranding being this huge thing is prevalent. When you hear rebrand, you think, oh, they're getting a totally new logo, they're changing their name possibly, everything's going to be new. Not always. It's not always as dramatic as, Twitter becoming X. We're not going to dive into that, but it's not always huge and dramatic. But here's what it can look like. It can look like taking a DIY logo concept and expanding it and creating an entire brand identity suite that works across multiple platforms and touch points. It can also look like refining your messaging for your audience and your marketing. So not even touching your visuals, it literally can just be, okay, we have zoomed in a little bit on who we're serving and we figured out how we want to talk to them. So we're going to change that up. And that's your messaging strategy, changing. Sometimes it plays into the visuals, or it leads into the visuals, but not always. Sometimes we're doing an overhaul of everything. There are so many factors that you need to consider when you're deciding if and when you need a rebrand. What are your current foundations? Where are you currently at? Did you just start your business and you're still finding your way? Do you know where you want your business to go and what you want it to do at the height of success and all these other things? How do you want to use your visuals? Who's your target audience? All kinds of things. When you have a small business, like if it's just you, let's say you're only online, you don't have a brick and mortar, then a rebrand can be a simple digital update if you change your visuals. But if you have physical products, if you have labels, if you have packaging, if you have signage for a store, it can make things a little bit more complicated. So these are some things to consider if you need a rebrand or if you need a complete overhaul of your visuals. These are some things to consider. The size of your business. When I looked up the Walmart rebrand, if I recall, they started implementing it in 2024. And it was going to be over a year-long process. Because think about it, Walmart has a lot of stores. They got a lot of stores, they got a lot of branches and all these other things they need to update, signage, all kinds of things. Their rebrand is not going to just pop up one day. We're not all going to wake up one day and be like, oh, Walmart rebranded. And it's everywhere now. That's not going to happen because they're such a big company. So it's going to take some time probably for them to get through all of their old inventory that has their old colors, I'm going to say, because I don't remember the exact touch points, I don't remember the exact assets that they changed. I remember the colors were adjusted and brightened, but it wasn't a dramatic change. And they might not even update anything. They might just run through what they have and then just quietly be like, okay, we're going to go ahead and change that color now. Because it wasn't super dramatic. Rebranding is not a one-size-fits-all. It's not always a big, scary thing. Sometimes it's revisiting your foundations and solidifying them. If you're considering if you need a rebrand, ask yourself if you know who your target audience is. Ask yourself, how do you want your business and your brand to be perceived by the public? And are your visuals communicating this effectively and professionally? If you've ever had that feeling where it's like, yeah, I made this logo in Canva, but I've outgrown it, I've elevated, all these things. Those are usually the pain points that make you think and make you feel like I need a rebrand. It's not just that. Make sure that you're in a spot where you actually need one and that it would actually benefit you. I saw a video where it was a rebrand of a logo. I think the video was by CJ Colley. He's a graphic designer. It was a bunny holding a cleaver. If I recall, the original logo was a bunny holding a cleaver. It was a film company, and he did the rebrand. But he kept the bunny with a cleaver. He just changed the idea and expanded on it. He expanded on the visuals and really made it a strong, memorable, and recognizable visual suite. And that was part of what inspired this episode, was that, you don't always have to burn it all down. And that was where I felt like I wanted to tell people. I wanted to share that thought. You don't always have to burn it all down. Sometimes you just need to add a little bit of paint. So, I'm going to wrap this up. I hope this was helpful. I really, truly do. I did my best to stay on topic and try to make things make sense without rambling. If you feel like you're in the market for a rebrand and you don't know where to start, if you need help, head on over to my website at tbdesignloft.com, fill out my inquiry form, and then we can hop on a call and I can help you figure out what you're needing. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Mom Boss Like a Boss podcast. If you have any thoughts on the episode, please feel free to reach out to me on Threads or Instagram. You can find me at The Creative Altruist, all one word, no spaces, underscores, or periods. It'll also be right there in the description. Until next time.